Hi everybody, welcome in. I'm Cam once again here with Susan. We are here today to do a little Q&A, as always, as we like to do before our races, before our Independence Road race, the half marathon we got going on June 22nd. So we're gonna do a little Q&A. This one will focus strictly more on the course itself. We'll do another one pretty soon about the registration and the build-up and stuff like that. But today we're gonna focus on just the course itself. What year is this? Do you know?
Well, technically, it's the 10th running of it, but it's the 9th running that we as road races are doing it.
Always is special to us because it is basically our hometown, Bristol, Warren, same town. So I
grew up growing up, like running on these courses.
Yes.
Yep.
Love this race. It's always a special time of year in Bristol itself. The 4th of July is the world to these people. So the red, white, and blue, the spirit, everything, it really is an awesome event. So we're very excited. But let's get into the questions.
Sure.
As always, I'm going to ask questions that I think are frequently asked questions. If you guys have any questions yourself, please leave them in the comments. We will do our best.
Or they can join our live Q&A next Wednesday, the 12th at 4 o'clock.
What she said. Or do that. But if you got questions, comment, email, DM, whatever you need, we'll answer them. First, this is a new course.
What we're going to say is that I don't know what he's going to ask me. So we'll see how this goes.
She's nervous.
I'm a little nervous.
So last year, I believe, was the first year of the reverse.
The reverse, yeah.
So after doing that new course with you, what would you say is the biggest difference between the reverse of the previous course?
Well, there's two things. One, I think we tend to knock out the hills more in the beginning versus the end. I mean, that was kind of the theory. And the Bristol police tend to like it because we knock the downtown section out a little bit earlier. So it's less impactful for residents, which, we always try to be mindful of our community. That's what we are hoping to do. And so, there's more of a flat, I think, on the way back from, what do you think, mile 11 is pretty flat. I mean, there's a little bit in Columban Fathers, but really that's not that bad of a hill, and it's pretty. So I'd say it's definitely more flat from mile 11 on, where previously it was definitely hillier on the back half.
Okay. So what would you say separates this Bristol course from some of the other races we do, like Narragansett, Newport, Jamestown? What is the difference maker here?
Other than the heat.
The heat.
It is a hot race, yeah. Hot heat and humidity, certainly a major concern as the race directors. We want to make sure that you guys are all safe. That's our number one priority. Otherwise, we have a lot of the similar types of things. Great coastal access, like you've got water views throughout it. Lots of historic, like Bristol is full of history. You're running like a lot of the famous parade routes or the red, white, and blue lines that are kind of along the way. You get to see parts of Narragansett Bay that you can only see by foot. You can never drive there. So like that whole shell path that's down on Roger Williams has this sweeping view of Narragansett Bay, only accessible by that shell path, which I think is really cool. And then I always think like that under the Mount Hope Bridge is pretty awesome. You'll see we post a lot of photos of that because I do think that's really cool. Columban Fathers is new to us last year. Again, we'll have them back this year. That's a part that's kind of in along the water too. It kind of replaced Blythewald, which is definitely something that, you've lived here your whole life. Had you ever been down there before the race? No. It's kind of cool. So I do like that parts of it. And then right back down Constitution to Thames, very like beautiful. I always think Bristol is just like your quintessential like coastal New England community. And 4th of July, they just explode with red, white, and blue. So very cool.
Yes, it's definitely their passion.
Yeah.
You could say during the summertime. So we'll do a little two-parter.
Okay.
Give me your hardest mile, maybe your most scenic mile.
Hardest mile, I'm going to say, is that Monkey Wrench section. What's that mile 11 where they go down and they do like down past the...
it's like 10, 11.
Yes, in that area. So you're really coming up Old Ferry Road once you kind of exit out of underneath the bridge. You're coming back up and then you kind of go down into Monkey Wrench. It's not long, it's less than a mile, but it has a decent climb coming out of there. Yeah, mile 10, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then scenic? Maybe a scenic one?
Oh, most scenic one. I love the Roger Williams to Mount Hope Bridge section. I do. I know a lot of people are like, well, we don't love running on the shells. I personally like running off-road. And I just think that right back there by Roger Williams is so beautiful and you can only see it by foot. So that's personally my favorite section back there.
Yeah, it's mile 8.
Yeah.
It's a good mile. So maybe an easier part of the course, flatter, maybe a little downhill.
Downhill. Well, I think now that Perry Street Hill is downhill, and so that's I think nice. So Perry Street, you're going down. That's what mile 2-ish. You're heading down that mile 2, and then you've got like that pretty flat stretch that's like Wood Street, High Street, heading back to Bayview. So again, that you're passing like the carnival, which growing up that was always really cool. I think you still have gone to the carnival, but I'm not
last year.
Yeah, you did go to the carnival last year. But you're seeing like this. The Bristol State House is the original Rhode Island State House is in Bristol. Which was also part of Brown. There's just like a lot of history on those streets, and it's very flat, which is also very nice.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my next questions was landmarks or any areas of interest that the course passes through.
Sure. Well, the America's Cup Museum, which is the start, so you can't miss that big sailboat right up front. That's around mile 11 and a half, I think now. The Bristol State House was the original Rhode Island State House, and I think it was originally part of Brown University. If you actually use RaceJoy, we did put like some points of interest in the RaceJoy app, so as you're listening to your progression, you can actually hear some of this history of Bristol. All those mill buildings, I think, have a lot of history. There's a Converse, I think, a Converse factory out on Buttonwood, if I'm not mistaken. What else is there? I mean, so much. There's I don't think we actually run past Linden Place, but there's like, that was the home of the Colt family. So a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of slave history that's in there too. It's got a fascinating history, but George Washington stayed at the DeWolf Tavern. That's right on, you'll pass that on Thames Street. I think it was part of Lafayette's march, if I'm not mistaken. So for the Revolution.
Okay. So next, first of all, are the start and finish in similar locations?
See, that's a question I should have had in advance, because then I could have prepared all this history and being like, this is for the moment. I know it, but not off the top of my head. All right, what was the question?
Start, finish, same spot?
Sort of same spot, like within walking distance of each other.
Independence Park.
Yeah, the finish is in Independence Park, and the start is just down like a couple feet away. So, but that actually starts on Thames Street, but walking distance.
What are some good spots for spectators to go see?
Oh, good question. I think the Town Common is a good spot because you can catch them on the out and back. I think that Roger Williams has got plenty of parking. It's a great place. That's also where our relay exchange is, and that's a good spot. Really the downtown sections, because what happens is, we're doing a lot of this with downtown, so you can kind of catch them at different intervals, and you can do the side streets where they're going like down Wood Street, up High Street. So if you're kind of in the middle of those two streets, you can kind of park off street and catch them in two areas. Bikes are a good way to get around Bristol. They're just, they are older streets, so Wood and High are pretty wide, but some of the other streets are a little bit narrow with parking on both sides. So if you have a bike, we always encourage biking around the course.
Next is kind of a quiz on your own course. Is what? So we have 6 aid stations. Do you know the approximate locations of those?
Well, we always try to do them at every 2 mile markers. So I believe the first one's at Vets at Terrace, right? And so that's just after mile 2. Mile 4 is at, well, this is a pop quiz. State Street. Oh, that's right. When they come out of Buttonwood, what is that? Yeah, Buttonwood. Yeah. So coming out of on State Street, so you're going to kind of cross the road before you go up State Street, and then you go down to Wolf. Mile 6 is, what is that? Oh, that's right. That's the other one that's in that neighborhood on Richmond. It's funny because I can think of them by who staffs them. So that was Shane Parker's, I think, last year. Hi, Shane. So that one, yes, that one is mile 6. So it's just off of Wood Street, I believe, right? And we take that left to go up to Richmond. Yep. And then the relay exchange that is at Roger Williams, and that's usually done by the Rhode Island Roadrunners. And then the one that is underneath the Mount Hope Bridge, that usually is done by the Portsmouth cross country team. So that's a fun one. Last year they got a lot of rain though, I think, on that one. But that's where you're going to do turnaround right around that aid station. And then the last one is right when you come out of Columban Fathers on Ferry Road, and it's just before Blythewald.
And then what's going to be given out at these aid stations? The usual?
Yeah, except we're not doing Cliff anymore because Cliff no longer makes gels. I don't really know why. They were our favorites. Well, you're a goo man. But so now we are having goo on course. Noon, as always, our electrolyte and water. And then if you need it, we'll have like some first aid, so Vaseline and oint cream and things like that. And every aid station will have a porta potty. Okay.
And then lastly, specific tips for this race for our runners.
Well, we're not going to say that it's flat because it's not flat. So Cam grew up going on the cross country team at Mount Hope High School, which you will pass just past mile 1. I coach the girls team there. So we have run these roads many, many, many times. They're not flat, unfortunately. So Bristol is a peninsula, and it kind of goes like this on both sides towards the water. So we're kind of running up and back, up and down some of these roads. So I would prepare for some hills. I would prepare for the humidity. By preparing for the humidity, what does that mean is drink a lot of water in advance of the race, not race morning, electrolytes. But know that what goes up must come down. So there are ups and there are downs. And I think the hardest one used to be when we did it the other way was the Perry Street Hill, which was the one that would go back to the high school. Now we're running down that. My advice on that one was always just to walk up it to get down it, but we don't do that anymore. So Ferry Road can be a bit of a challenge because you've got that beautiful Mount Hope view, and then you're kind of coming up, and then Monkey Wrench. So just be prepared for the hills. It's not the easiest course, but yeah.
All
right.
Well, great job.
Thanks.
Now is the flyover. We will cut to.
Yep.
So we'll do the flyover of the course. Make sure you check that out. Very cool little flyover that Strava does for us. And yeah, leave your comment, leave your questions, and then be sure to join us at that Q&A on
June 12th. 4 p.m.
Yeah. We will be there ready to answer any and all questions you guys may have. So thank you for tuning in.
All right. Good luck in your training.
So we're going to do a little course flyover here today so you get a better idea of what to expect. The race starts and finishes at Independence Park in Bristol. So we go up Thames Street out to Hope Street, which you're going to see the red, white, and blue line, which is the famous parade route. We're going to take a right onto Chestnut, and you'll pass mile 1, and it is a bit of an uphill as we cruise towards the high school. Take another right onto Sherry, which is pretty flat, and then we go down the Perry Street Hill, which is a good decline. We wrap around by Terrace, which we then follow a relatively flat part of the downtown area. We loop around the town common, and then we come up Wood Street past Pivotal, which is mile 3, which is where our post-race party is, and then up Bayview, which again is a bit of an uphill. We cruise along Buttonwood, then we do this little loop through the neighborhood, relatively flat, a little bit of a downhill here, and then we head back towards the common, crossing the parade route again onto Wood Street. That's High Street. Then we go up Woodbine, and then we do that loop through the neighborhood just a little bit again, a little bit of an uphill as we cruise towards Metacom, back onto Woodbine as we go into Metacom. You're going to cross the street here with police access, and we go down Old Gibson, I think it is, and then we head towards Roger Williams, again a flat part, and right there's going to be an aid station, and that's where the relay exchange point is. Now we go off-road for a little section right here. This is our only off-road section. We run along the shells and along the water through Roger Williams. We cruise through Roger Williams University, ignore that little spot there, and head down towards that amazing view underneath Mount Hope Bridge. Back up Old Ferry Road, we don't go down Monkey Wrench to I forget the name of that road, back onto Ferry Road. Then we do this loop through Columban Fathers, which again has amazing views of the water, little bit of a downhill and uphill as you cruise through Columban Fathers. Back onto Ferry Road, then we take this left back to Thames. This is all pretty flat right through this area as we cruise back to our finish line. You go past these amazing views of the America's Cup, back down Constitution, back down to Thames. Again, all very flat. Back to our finish at Thames Street at Independence Park. And that's our course.